After seeing over 3,000 pitch decks as a VC, I really started to understand the patterns of what makes a good pitch deck compared to a bad pitch deck, and what you need to do in that to really make investors love you and want to take a meeting with you. So in this video, I'm going to go through a pitch deck. We're going to go through how me as a VC, how I would think of the pitch deck and what isn't working in the pitch deck and how to improve it. And if you want to get your pitch deck roasted by me in this exact same way, then comment roast down below or click the link below and you can upload your deck for me to do the exact thing I'm about to do today for you. So let's get straight into it. The first pitch deck is here with a company called Viewery. So the first slide is fine. It's just the voice intelligence layer for real estate. There's nothing necessarily wrong with this. The only thing you could add is if you really wanted to, you could put your name and email down, but it's not that big of a deal and we don't have to worry too much about that. As we go onwards and we move on to the pitch deck, from the start, this is really where it starts to unravel actually. So the biggest problem when it comes to a pitch deck and where founders go wrong a lot of the time is they don't realize that they're not in the room to explain exactly what they're trying to build and why they're trying to build it. And when they start to build out their pitch deck, what happens is that they just build it from their own assumed knowledge. And that's the biggest problem that's happened within this deck. And when you think about a deck, when you think about when someone's looking at this, the first thing an investor does is they spend the first 5 to 10 seconds looking at the first 3 slides to decide if they're actually interested in wanting to speak to you or spend more time with you. And the problem with this deck, and this is for most decks I see, and it'll be the same for the other decks that we look at, is that when we start to go through this, for example, okay, so we've got the voice intelligence layer for real estate. So it's for real estate. That's what we know. It's what your one-liner is. I don't think it's necessarily, or worse, it's not that bad of a one-liner. But the biggest problem that is, now think about this from a point of view of, if I'm coming into this without really understanding the voice layer real estate, I'm just trying to understand if this makes sense and this is exciting. All you're saying is you're selling your home is stressful. Okay, why should I care about that? Why does that matter? Why does that need to be solved? Why is this such an important thing that I should be caring about? Then you go into that it's malicious and systemic. I don't understand why I should care. Why should I care about this? Why does it matter that it's systemic? Why is this something that can be solved and should be solved? You've not sold me on anything here because you have your own assumed knowledge of it. So at this point, I'm already off the pitch deck and thinking negatively because I don't really understand why I should care. Only and then do you start talking about it's recognized by the industry a little bit. And then finally, it's the 5th slide. You say it's destroying branch revenue, by the way, which I don't know what branch revenue means. So at no point as we go through this, am I understanding, and this is what should be your first slide, is what's the impact? Why should I care? What happens with selling your home that is so stressful that needs to be solved? This isn't impact. None of this is impact. None of it. This is not impact. This is not impact. This is not impact. I want to understand really what's causing here, how much is being lost here because selling your home is stressful. I need to understand why this is something I need to act on right now. Why is now the exact point? I'm not getting that. This one probably can be in your 3rd or 4th slide after you've talked about it, but there's nothing that you're really saying anything here that makes me excited by what you're doing. And you say here that the problem is recognized by the industry, but then there's no point am I really trying to understand this. And this is another thing about this pitch deck and every pitch deck. The problem is that you're not explaining in the titles. So what I want you to do, right, is I want you to do it's called a rubber band exercise, but just if you only had 6 slides and you could only do the title to explain everything, how would you do it? And then use those titles in the slides, because if I'm just looking at your titles, I can't really see or understand what you're really trying to get at here. I don't understand why I should care, the impact, but also why do you need this product in the market? Why people want this? For example, you say here the problem is recognized by the industry. That doesn't explain anything to me. This is a really bad title, right? It needs to be like, if we go through here, I don't know enough, and again, the pitch deck's not showing me enough, so evidently it shows how bad the pitch deck is. But let's say that it's communication, right? So it's like communication is failing the real estate. Something like communication is failing the real estate industry. And then you would just have basically 3 boxes here explaining what it is, right? You'd have the impact of what that is. You then say communication is failing the real estate industry. This is the again, I don't know if this is true. And you've not really explained it very well in the pitch deck for me to understand. But I need to understand why there is, right? Even if you would start with this, for example, if you really wanted to in slide 1, but you need to tell me why should I care so much? £1 billion is being lost every year due to bad communication. And this is the real reason why. If you said exactly that, communicate again, I'm really adding on the communication because I don't know. You've not really told me exactly what it is yet, but I don't know that. You're saying not knowing the truth here, but I don't understand because you've not really explained it in the first 3 slides to make me connected to why you're trying to build this pitch deck. Now, the second thing on this, and this is just as you go through the whole deck, is you've got to realize that the way in which a VC or an investor or anyone who looks at a pitch deck, they do it all in the same way, okay? And it's always just how the eyes go. It's just human nature. And also when you're briskly reading, it's how it works, right? What they're going to be doing, first they're going to be going here. Then they'll be going for the second largest size. Then they'll be going for the icons. And the last is they'll be going for the smaller text. Now, this, without really knowing, there's no stats to show it, obviously. I don't think you'd ever collect stats on it. I reckon 5% of people will ever actually look at the text when they're briskly reading your pitch deck for the first time. When they've seen it a second or third time and they want to spend more time on it, sure. But when they're deciding if they're going to get a meeting with you and the first time they look at it, they're not looking at this text. And that's a big problem that you're having. This is the 4th thing they're going to look at, or 3rd here because they don't have icons. Here, no one's going to be reading any of this, none of this text. None of this text is going to be read. None of this text is going to be read. And this is where your main stats are. How am I meant to know why this is exciting when I'm not even going to read that? I'm going to read this. The problem is recognized by the industry. I have no clue what that means. I'm then going to look at this. Every stat, which is, by the way, even this is too wordy. Every stat points to the same failure. Agents know the problem but lack the solution. Why? Why do they not know that? I don't understand that. And you've not told me in 3 slides. Again, I'm not reading this, so I don't really understand what's going on here. And there is no impact. I don't know what's going on. So now I'm just confused. And at this point, to be frank, at this slide, I would have shut it off. I'd have been like, no, I don't think this is interesting. I don't think I'm interested. Or if I did carry on, which is not always, I just would have been like, okay, yeah, negative. I would have been negative towards you, even before I got to the end. And that's the big problem, is when you don't have a structured way of how you're hooking the investor and spending all your time on hooking the investor. What does my first 3 slides look like? How do I make someone super excited? And then secondly, from a design point of view, making sure that there is no wording like this, but it's as simple as possible and I can read big numbers. For example, this one, right? It could be something as simple as there's a 1 billion problem, right? And then you could say, you could find some number here. So again, I have to properly read into here, right? It's just crazy. And maybe it's like this, right? So you put this in here. So you'd say this would be like, you'd put it probably on the 150K, right? And then you'd have reduced profit, right? And then you'd have, let's say with admin bleed, I don't know, let's say that this is 15 hours lost. So 1 in 6 churn, something along those lines. Can you see if this was a slide that's 10 times easier to read? I totally get it. I can briskly read that and like, oh, I get it. But at no point have you done this. So when I'm reading your pitch deck, I'm confused. I'm confused as to why I should care about you. And that's the biggest problem with this, is I don't understand what makes you great. I don't understand what makes you great. And when I don't understand what makes you great, I can't build a structure of whether or not I should spend more time with you, I should make a meeting with you, because I don't understand why I should care and what problem you're really solving. And because of that, when we move into your product, which is size 6, I don't know if I should care what you're doing. So then you say, what if every viewing came with the full picture? What if they had all of these? But then you're just showing me features. I don't understand why these matter. There's nothing on impact. These are all features. So you're front loaded features about what you're doing. So I don't understand. I don't really care about your problem or really understand why it matters. I don't really understand the impact because I've not read deeply into these, and I don't really care about all of this stuff because you're not really showing me into anything. I don't understand why now is the perfect time for it and why this needs to happen. Why an intelligence layer needs to happen. I don't understand what could happen if that changes because I don't really understand the problem, because you've said a billion problem, but I'm not going to read this and I don't really understand how it can be solved. You then just say all of these things, which are all features about what you're doing and nothing about impact. And then you say that this is how I deliver it. This is how the product works. Where am I trying to understand? How are you going to solve the £1 billion thing? How are you going to take, let's say here, for the 15 admin hours, what are you solving? Are you taking that from 15 to 1? Are you taking it from 15 to 14? Are you making it worse for them? I have no clue. So at that point, I'm like, why should I care? And that's really the kind of premise of the whole pitch deck right now. I'm not going to click the product demo because I'm confused as to what you're doing. And because of it as well, because you've not really explained the problem, why does this matter? You can't ask me a question if you've made me confused from the beginning about what you're trying to do. Because I'm like, okay, what is the full picture? You've not even said full picture in any of your titles here, or why the full picture matters. So when you say, what if every viewing came with a full picture? I'm like, okay, but I don't know why the full picture matters. How does that affect anything? Right? And this is the big problem when it comes to this stuff. Like, how do we build out a pitch deck that investors actually love? And this is not the way in which we do it. We need to improve how we think about the flow of it comes from someone who doesn't sit in the same seat as you and doesn't understand as much as you. So you finally say it in slide 7. You say 0 extra work, instant action intelligence. But again, there's no numbers. There's no real understanding of what you're doing and how you're better. So I still don't really understand why someone would want this. Like, why would someone buy this? What is it? Is it that they save all this money? Is it that the 15 hours a week they can hire someone less and save 30 grand? Is it they can make revenue every time and you can double their revenue every single branch? What is it? I don't know because you've not told me. And because of that, I don't understand the impact and I don't want to invest. And then again, you're still just going into more and more around the product without talking about anything about why you're improving this industry. One of the things I do with my founders is, what we need to do is we need to talk about what does the before look like and what does the after. What does the old world look like? What does currently, if it stays the same, if the real estate industry stays the same, how does it look? Whereas if you solve this industry and you dominate and you create this market, the voice intelligence layer of real estate, how will it change? And that's the thing that we need to think about, because at no point at this point in the pitch deck, am I excited by what you're doing? And would I ever invest into you? Or again, no one's going to invest into your pitch deck. Would I ever want to take a meeting with you or be excited to want to take a meeting with you? Yeah, you say like pilots are confirmed, but again, this just comes back to this, right? The title, why have you not talked about the numbers of the title? Why have you not explained it in a much better way? I don't think it's that bad. It's not as bad as the other ones, but we could definitely improve it there. This stuff, like this doesn't mean anything. You're just saying the problem is known, the timing is right, the pull is imminent. You've not told me why. You've not told me how much they love this. They've not told me the impact. So when you say this stuff, without giving me anything about impact, without giving me anything about why someone should buy this, you haven't given me anything about how you improve the market. You've just given me some features. I'll be frank, no investor's going to believe when you say this. It all just comes across as, it's just not true. He's just saying this for a pitch deck. And that's the worst position you can be in, because that's where investors are just never going to invest into you. And so the next one is that you talk about you've got a clear path to 1 million ARR. And look, that's great and all, but let's be frank. Investors don't necessarily care about how you reach 1 million ARR. They care about what the market looks like. And because you've never talked about your business model, there's no point of you ever talking about your business model. Do I understand, one, how you're going to reach 1 million ARR, but also how are you going to reach 100 million ARR? How are you going to become $1 billion business? So what you should be doing is spending, being much better on the impact here. And then from the impact, you can then talk about business model, right? So go straight into business model. So this is how we improve the industry. This is how much we increase their revenue, save their time, make it easier, reduce costs, that they're going to be, why basically we're going to be the core thing that they're looking for and they're excited by. And then this is how much money we charge. This is exactly how much money we charge. I'll just say that. This is how much we charge per person. And this is what it's going to look like. And then you can say, and then this is the clear path to 100 million ARR, right? So you move from the business model into what does 100 million ARR look like? What does it look like? How many branches are there? Really focus on how you can build that out. Because that's, yes, I understand you want to show that you can meet your million ARR and you can reach the next stage. But investors, when they're looking at this, and you can talk about that in a meeting for sure, but when investors are looking at your pitch deck, they're not making a decision to invest. No one's ever going to invest because of your pitch deck. They're making a decision to say, do I think this company can be massive enough for me to want to invest? So you need to be focusing on, this is how we make money, and this is how what 100 million ARR looks like, and this is why that's such a little amount. That's what we need to be building out, okay? So for example, this would be 500 accounts, I guess, or 3,000 branches. What does that look like as a percentage? How easy is that to do? I don't know. But you should be able to find out what that is. And then you come into vision, and this is the problem, right? You've talked about a million ARR, then you're talking about a vision when the vision you either leave this out or you have this at the forefront. Because I don't understand, at no point, because you've not talked about impact, it always comes back to the first 3 slides. I know I'm repeating myself here. Because you've not done that, I don't understand why this matters. I don't know why I should care. Because you've not brought that journey onto me of why this is such an important thing, or why this next level predictive intelligence is going to be a game changer. I don't understand why these things matter and how that can make you build an amazing business and will change this industry for the global market. Then you're saying start with SaaS that sell to, you should be putting this at the forefront. This is going to be your main revenue driver. Why are you putting this at the bottom? You've talked about potential for revenue, and then you go into data. It just seems very, you don't like unfocused, right? Because you're focusing on one, then you're going into this. You're saying data is the end goal. This is how we do it. These are the steps we take. That's what's going to get investors excited, because right now it just seems like you lack focus. And that's a big problem of what we're doing. So when we get to the team slide, I think this is probably your best slide, which is good, right? It's the most important slide, which is great. The only thing I'd say, you want to think of the titles as flowing. So again, this is not, we want to flow from like vision. It shouldn't be vision. It's like, our vision is to do this, but we start with SaaS and scale to data. And then we say, and we are, and you can say and, right? And you could say, and we're the founder market fit teams thing. That's fine. Otherwise, I think that's a good title, right? It's a great title. Now, when it comes to these two, you're better actually than most. But at the end of the day, this doesn't really matter that much. This is really good. This again, really good. This one, really good. But we want to focus on, and you say successful exit track record, put numbers in. What does it look like? You re-platformed Big Data Analytics. Really, what was that like? Was that 100 people you're hiring? Was it 10 people? Was it 100 million of data analytics you had to do? What is it? I need to understand, because you don't really tell me anything. Whereas this is really good. This is really good. I don't understand what makes you actually great. And the 30 years doesn't mean anything to me. The 5 years doesn't mean anything to me. I care about what you've actually done in these industries. Because even for involved in 3 YC-backed startups, what was he? Was he a janitor? Was he a janitor for 2 of them? Did he get coffee for the founders once and he's calling himself that? Or was he a core part of it? Did he scale them? I don't know. I don't know. You say ex-Yandex. What was he doing at ex-Yandex? Was he a CTO? Was he a junior software developer? We didn't do anything. I don't understand. And that's the problem. We need to really hone into, what did he do? I hired a team of 20 people at Yandex and scaled their UX team doing this. That's what it should be saying. And the same for yourself. Otherwise, I think it's a pretty good slide. Now, this slide, yep, this is absolutely fine. The one thing I would say is if you want to make the use of funds into a pie chart, this doesn't really matter. It's not the big thing. Apart from that, I would test the market, but I'm worried that this is too small. Only raising 150 to 200k is just not a lot of money. And sometimes it's better to raise 500k plus. It's actually easier to raise 500k plus because you can work with bigger people, better investors, and people are more likely to invest into you because they know you're raising a lot of money and you're not going to be fundraising again in 6 months. But that is something you need to test the market with. It's not gospel. And then, yeah, the last thing I would say is just a thank you page. I would do a thank you page and just have it. And if you want to get your pitch deck roasted by me in this exact same way, then comment roast down below or click the link below and you can upload your deck for me to do the exact thing I'm about to do today for you.